Hello friends and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out a very simple minimalistic puzzle game called Off Balance by developer Pragmascript. What we're going to be dealing with in this case is a big stark empty room with a little green platform and a series of objects of increasing complexity, and what we need to do is balance all of those objects on that green platform using whatever intelligence and means that we can come up with by manipulating the physics of said objects. So why don't I show you level 1, and we will see if we can have a little bit of success as I explain here the nuance of what exactly we can expect from Off Balance. This is an early version of the game, so just be aware there may be some small technical difficulties as we go, but the fundamentals are pretty solid, and what you can see here is, well, what I mentioned already, the green platform and a big empty room and a single ball. So just want to make note, first of all, I really do appreciate the very minimalistic aesthetic. The room has some nice lighting effects to it, which the developer didn't necessarily have to pursue. You can actually see there's a little bit of like diffused lighting bouncing off the walls over at the edges there, and things don't just have like a solid gray texture to them, although they very easily could have. In fact, the ball that has its kind of wooden texture on it, I think might actually have a little bit of bump mapping, I can't entirely tell. And then the cube, or whatever this little rectangular shape is, seems to also have a little bit of depth to it as well, which gives it kind of a nice, almost like a jello-y feeling, which I appreciate. I like the textural stuff when I come to my gaming. So the room, like I said, not a whole lot going on in it, but it doesn't really need a whole lot, because really the focal point of what we're dealing with is right in the center. And what I'm doing here is I'm using my left click to drag the ball along the horizontal axis, and then if I want to add the shift button, it will shift along to the vertical axis, so I can actually lift and place things, as well as switch back and forth between moving it over where I want it to drop. So let's just set this one into place, and hopefully if all goes well, it should be pretty much completely still, and we will have our countdown timer tick down from 10 to 0, and when it gets to 0, we will get to our next level. So nice and simple. It's not a very complex premise, and I appreciate that. And you know, not every game has to be super complex. Sometimes all you need is just a little bit of a nice idea, and this one I think does just that. So let's grab this block. Pretty sure most of us would come to the conclusion that the best course of action here is to drag the block around and place it as squarely over top of the pedestal as we can manage. Now, it's just going to take a little bit of lining up because physics are a little bit jiggly, which is fine. I think that's kind of part of the fun here, so we're just going to kind of gingerly nudge it into place. Maybe I can pull it along a little bit. My one minor complaint here is that I think the objects don't seem to necessarily have representative weight to them. A lot of them just seem to weigh roughly about the same regardless of their mass. And you'll see in the next level, I think, where that starts to come a little bit more into play. Because for right now, not a hugely big deal. But, you know, the block you would think would be quite weighty and would kind of hold its spot if something budges into it. But, you know, that's probably not so much the case. Also kind of note, just considering how the objects seem to almost have material properties mapped to them. You know, given that the ball looks like it's made out of wood and the rock, the big cube, seems to be made out of rock or something like that. Just the first thing that occurred to me. So there's level 2 down, and now we're going to get into slightly increasingly complex concepts here. Not anything to be too worried about, but we're going to have to actually balance a pretty strange and unorthodox shape, and I really am starting to appreciate the lighting now that you can see there's actually, you know, things that are shadowing off of its own self, like the actual object is casting shadows on itself, which, you know, it's a kind of a nice little touch that you don't always see. By the way, in case I forgot to mention, right-click is going to be manipulation of the camera, which is kind of an important one in this case, since a lot of the work that we're doing involves carefully positioning things and seeing what the angles are around them. So I'm trying to figure out what's the best approach here. I'm pretty sure nothing can even touch the ground, even in the least, so probably using like this longer edge to like counterpoint by settling it on the ground. I don't think that's going to be a valid operation. So we're gonna turn this sucker until we find what seems to be the most safe spot for it to sit. Also, I don't know if you can hear this. I'm gonna try and make the sound for you. There's actually some reverb as this material bounces off the floor, and the reverb actually seems very well indicative of the space and materials that this room is made out of. So another really tiny but meaningful touch. Sort of reminds me a little bit of Zenbound, actually, that we're moving this bizarre shape around in 3D space and trying to get it positioned in just the way that we want. And sorry, I'm just sort of throwing the thing around in circles now. I need to get it actually arranged in a way that's meaningful. There we go. I think we want something like this. We do have to find the center of balance, though, which is going to be a little bit tricky here. It might not be even very reasonable to expect. We're going to try our best here. And I think that's going to be kind of the crux of this game is like, okay, you see what you're supposed to do, but can you execute it? And I think that's going to be really where the nuance of this development needs to take place is like, if we're really going to make this into an idea that's going to be solid, well, we got to make sure the player has the right tools in his or her tool belt to be able to manipulate these objects. And right now, you know, we're not too far off, but I could see it getting pretty annoying if there are like 10 objects you have to very carefully balance, and then you slightly shift one a little bit too far, then all of a sudden the whole balance axis shifts, and then everything falls, and then you got to start from scratch again. Anyway, we're going to try not to let that happen if at all possible, and we're going to arrange this in a vertical orientation if we can. We're kind of moving it in opposite direction. Okay, we're good. Let's just get this settled. I don't know where the right place to put the camera is. I did actually, in a prior playthrough, have the camera get stuck in the ceiling, which I might actually just include a little bit of that in the post-roll. Let's see if I can lift this up crane style and then position it over top. I would really love like a top-down crane view for this, but let's see if I can sort that too. It's doable. Just going to make sure I maybe don't smack into this stone. What I need right now is the ability to just gently nudge it in like a circular fashion. There may even be a button for that. I'm just double checking that, holding like Alt or Control. No, it doesn't seem to do it. Oh god, I hit spacebar. Spacebar is apparently reset. I thought reset was R for some reason. So, I guess we'll do that again. Alright, well, we weren't like particularly far into a solution there. But it is something that's going to take a second for me to reorient. How did I even have that a second ago? I guess it really doesn't matter as long as there's some sort of a center of mass of things. And maybe like that, and as long as I arrange it so the block goes straight on the top, it's not going to be a big deal. Oh, let's not fall over yet. Alright, you go up. My apologies, this is taking 100,000 years here to do a very simple task. This is not something you'll likely struggle with, especially because there's many more levels. Okay, can we drop this? I don't know if we're actually over the pedestal. I should probably arrange that. You can actually use right-click in the middle of adjusting things, too, so if you need to kind of pause the action for a second, that is one of those tools that I mentioned that is going to be very important to the player. I don't know if I'm over the platform anymore. I kind of shifted it a little bit over too far. There we go. I think we're good. Is that... Okay, yeah, alright, we're fine. So now I'm going to try to place the wooden block again. We're going to grab, we're going to lift, and then we're going to roll it around and over, and we do have a nice bit of clearance above. Kind of an important thing to note, otherwise we're just going to smack right into it. And I want to make sure that we are over the center here, if I can. So I'm going to try and get my camera up above. There we go. I think that's looking about right. Can we drop this very gently? Still just making sure. I want to actually get a better camera angle there in a second. That's about right. Let's, adjust. It looks like we're pretty close. Could try and, oh. I know the camera really wants to be helpful, but it wants to keep flipping me around in the other direction. That's not necessarily what I'm after right now. That's probably okay, right? I can't see. Okay, there we go. Oh. Gently now. Gently. And let go. Please don't fall, please don't fall, please don't fall. Okay, I think we got this. Nothing seems to be moving at all, so, yeah, it's in the bag this time. Brilliant! Okay, spacebar, what do we get on the next level? Oh my goodness, we get a whole variety of new shapes. Oh, and the platform has also changed shape a little bit. It's now a little bit more rectangular, whereas it was a little bit more square a moment ago. So, I guess we would have to arrange this sucker so we find the flat side. We would probably want to use the bottom part that I seem to have already located here. I don't know how we're going to turn the sucker around, though. I'm going to have to, like, dipsy doodle it until I get it in the right direction or something. Is that right? I think we want similar to that, right? Just maybe another little jog to it. And lower. Okay, it's not bad. If we could nudge that, though. Okay, we're on. We're on just almost correctly. I think I need to maybe just nudge that a little bit more. Oh, that's working just fine. Okay, there is actually some friction, which is great. So what this means is I should be able to hopefully wedge this sucker. Oh, careful now. I don't want to hit right into it. We could wedge the sucker up against the side if I turn this way. I like how in this game there's not really any like predefined grid system or anything. It's not like we're playing Tetris or something and things are going to lock in. You really are, it's up to your discretion how exactly you want to stack things. You know, as much as, well, I guess it can be fun in both directions. Sometimes I'd prefer it this way so it's totally freeform. Other times I think maybe I'd like some way to snap things into place to make it a little bit more efficient. But that would take a lot of the challenge away, I think. I think a lot of the goal here is to be able to work with the tools, like I've said 100 times already. Is this going to hold, though? Okay, this is kind of awkward. Just sit. Can we... I think it's maybe close enough that if I let go, it might stay. I don't know, the balance looks like it's really strange. Okay, I've let go. Oh, it's actually more secure now than ever. That's great news. Now, can we readjust the bottom? Because I think I kind of screwed it up just a little bit. I guess it's probably a good thing that these don't have representative weight to them, otherwise it would probably start glitching out the physics system and then things would start falling through each other. Actually, as you can see right here, if I could zoom in, it looks like they're actually clipping into each other just slightly. It's important that the collision boxes be close to each other, though, otherwise you're going to get like a repelling effect, which will eventually kind of ruin the whole point of the puzzles. So if anything, if they have to be a little bit off, I would say having them give you a little bit more latitude in that way is probably necessary and welcomed. So let's turn this sucker this way. This is going to be a really awkward block to manipulate, as I'm sure you can already imagine. And you might have your sights on the same place that I do right now. This could be a really dangerous way to go, though, so this might not be the best call, but I was thinking of kind of like throwing it up on the right side here so it wedges up nicely against the other one. Thing is, though, I just realized it's a really bad idea because the weight is all going to be on that little pivot point that is not actually attached to anything. So maybe... Oh, excuse me? The timer just started up. I'm not sure quite why. I've had that happen before, but I think we don't need to worry too much about it. Excuse me again? Why are you doing that? Calm down. We haven't actually set this block up yet. I'm actually still trying to figure out where I want to put it. I thought I knew, but I guess I don't. Maybe I just want to drop it straight on top and just see if that'll work. I might be overcomplicating things. Just try and maybe settle it, or offset it rather, so it's facing, you know, like perpendicular to what seems to be the weight-bearing mass of the lower regions. All right, something like that. Then we need to rotate it a little bit more. This is like crane simulator, abstract crane simulator, I guess. You might be able to call it. I really just wish I could hold control, though, and turn this in place. That would be really handy right now. I would love to see someone who gets really adept at creating things out of these blocks, like create some kind of beautiful castle or something if they're given all the blocks in the entire universe to play with. Could be very interesting. Also, you would probably need them to have some ability to snap if you're going to do that. Otherwise, the propensity of everything to fall apart is just far too high. All right, is there any chance that this is going to settle in place if I drop it? If this goes off the rails, I think we're going to be done. Let's just gently lower it. Gently. This is the most gently that I can lower it. This angle, though, is not giving me a lot of hope. And if I jog this too hard, it's probably going to offset the weight mass distribution of the lower parts. I think it's sitting on it. Think we're good. I need to let go, though. Okay, no, calm down. I think we're good. Turn. It's not moving anymore. We're good. Hooray. Oh, goodness gracious. What on earth? What is that? It's like a spring. Oh, this is silly. I didn't even realize there would be weird mechanisms. I thought this was all going to be just solid blocks. Oh, this is fun. All right, I was going to stop there, but now I kind of want to see what's going to happen with this one. So, like, how does this thing flop? Like, if I put it down vertically, which apparently I can't do. I thought I understood how, oh my god, I thought I understood the camera. I've already gone off the rails again. All right, nothing's even happening, and I can't reorient this thing. Just lift, please, just lift up. Oh my goodness. Just lift up, please. I know you're capable. Okay. I just wanted to see what would happen if I put it down like this, and now what if I just drop this other rock on top of it, this other box, rather. Oh god. Camera, we're having some difficult times, I understand. Can't always be easy. I'm gonna bet that most likely if I drop this on top of it, it's gonna flex. Oh my god, I can't understand three-dimensional space anymore. Just drop on top. Okay, so that is totally gonna flex. So that means, well, I mean, I knew to begin with what was pretty much going to happen, and obviously the solution here is to put this one at the bottom. But I just kind of wanted to play around with it and see what kind of stability we had if we're going to be getting into further physics exploration involving simple hinges or whatever you want to call it, some sort of flexible hinge, I guess. That really does open the door for some very interesting and strange creations and strange strategies, in fact, that you would need to employ to get around some of this stuff. I can't believe how entertained I am by this such a simple concept. This is like basically a digital play with blocks game, and I'm kind of okay with it. It seems fine to me. Imagine a Minecraft game with this kind of thing where you could just lift up and move all the objects like this in real time. That would be both liberating and a nightmare at the same time, I have a feeling. All right, can we just drop? I'm trying to do this from a two-dimensional perspective. Stay. All right, so we're not going to win with the camera like this, obviously. I'm trying to be a little bit fancy, a little bit clever, and it's not working. Oh my god, please stop rocking around in space. Just stay put. I think the problem is I didn't grab it evenly over the top, so it's kind of like angled to one side, which is part of the fun, I suppose, of having this be some sort of flexible hinge. And I think it's down. All right, it might even actually stay like that. It's awful looking, but, you know, it'll get the job done. It's just sort of offset to one side, kind of diagonally leaning up into the air. And, oh my god, what is that? We've got an actual ball, and then some sort of other weird ball hinge thing again. What is the point of that? Is that just to make it really confusingly difficult? Wait. So I just have to put the U shape so it's facing up, and then put the cylindrical block, or the rectangular block in the center, and then put the ball on top. That doesn't seem very hard. Can certainly handle that. Well, I think I'm going to let you go. I'm obviously far more entertained by this than I think I even understood that I would be when I started playing it. And I guess there's really nothing wrong with that, is there? So go check out the alpha version of Off Balance. It is totally free. You can play it right in your browser. I don't think there's a downloadable version as of yet, but, you know, I guess you don't even need one if you have a web browser. And I'm going to bet you probably do. Probably at least a few of you out there have a web browser. If you don't, I guess we can have another talk later about that and how you're watching all the videos and things. Well, you could be watching on mobile or various other devices like an Xbox or something. But if you are, that would be pretty cool, actually. Let me know if you are. More so the Xbox than the mobile, because I think that's not that strange. But yeah, that's going to be another day's worth of indie impressioning. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode. If you did, consider leaving a comment. I do love to hear from you. Let me know what you liked and didn't like about Off Balance, if you wouldn't mind. And of course, if you enjoyed the episode, consider leaving a like, or at least rating it in some form or fashion, because I do appreciate the feedback in either direction. And of course, also, if you find yourself here all the time, consider subscribing to the channel. That also helps me out tremendously, and then you'll be updated on every new episode of Indie Impressions as they go up, as well as, you know, any other videos, and there are many of them going up. This is surprisingly difficult to negotiate this very tight jam that I seem to find myself in. Oh, I found it. I got it in. There you go. There's your out of context line for the day. I hope you enjoyed it. And look at that. Look at the stability there. Wait a minute, Internet. I think we've done a thing here, haven't we? We built a sword. That's not what you were expecting me to say. Anyway, I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you come back again later, and I will see you then. Have a great night, everybody. Later. That's okay. We can actually just lift the ball all the way up into the sky, and let's see if it... Oh, it does collide. And let's just let that drop. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that if you drop it... Oh, wait. It does actually parallax. Okay, I didn't realize that. If you drop it above the platform, I guess it will actually hold things in place. Uh-oh, I've done a terrible thing, guys. I seem to have gotten the camera stuck looking up at the ceiling. Let's hit R and see if that resets. Nope. Alright, let's hit escape and reload the level. Nope. Let's hit quick game. Nope. Okay. Not sure what happened there, but I'll take it.